going on, guys? Bringing you all the game predictions for week 3 in the NFL Sunday. Kicking it off, we got the Packers and the Browns. -8.5 spread here, over under of 41.5. I'm taking the under 41.5 here. The Packers have averaged 15.5 points this season giving up, and that was against Detroit and Washington. Definitely a little better teams than the Browns. And the Browns have only scored 16 against a Bengals defense, which was terrible, and then 17 in a blowout to the Ravens. 10 points came in the fourth quarter. So definitely, a little bit of a storyline there, but definitely stay in the under here. Obviously, the Packers have looked really good, but the Browns I just don't think are contributing. And as I've always said, if it's only one team that's going to contribute, hit the under. I think the Browns, they're the worst in the NFL for rushing. Packers is the best defense in the league against run. So you're basically sticking all passing yards, basically relying on Joe Flacco. And then Packers have only given up 189 passing yards per game so far. So it's not like they're even that bad in the passing. They're definitely a formidable defense here. I don't think the Browns score, I think 17 would be a very high number for them. I can see the Packers getting 30, Browns 10. We're hitting that under. Next up, Jets versus the Bucks. We got a 6.5 point spread here, and then we have an over under of 43.5. Taking the Bucks -6.5. I don't think you take this any higher. I think 6.5 is definitely the highest you go. But Jets offense couldn't do anything against the Bills. And then you got Fields out, Tyrod Taylor in. I certainly think he throws quite a bit to Garrett Wilson, but I don't think it's going to look very good. I think this Bucks defense is going to handle him. Bucks defense is one of the best run defenses in the league. They got Vita Vea blocking, all the holes there, and I don't think Breece Hall can really get going in this game. I think the Bucks shut down their run game. They have to rely on their offense. You got Tyrod Taylor relying on helming the passing game, and I just don't think that's going to work out for him. And plus, the Jets defense has given up over 30 points in their first 2 weeks. I don't see the reason the Bucks can't put up 30 as well. I don't think the Jets get anywhere near the 20s, so definitely taking the Bucks -6.5. Wouldn't go any higher. I could see this being a low-scoring game if their defenses pick it out, but I think the Bucks win by a touchdown no matter what. Next up, Rams versus the Eagles. Got a 3.5 point spread on this and an over-under of 44.5. I like the Rams team total over 20.5. Wouldn't go any higher. That 21.5, obviously that's 3 touchdowns. I would stay off that. But over 20.5, the Rams have averaged 23 points in their first 2 weeks. This Eagles defense has given up 240 rushing yards in 2 weeks, 120 yards per game, on average. With Curran and Williams in the backfield, I don't think the Rams will have any problem running against this Eagles defense. And then we saw last week, we had Puka Nacua first week, got all the targets, got all the yards. Certainly saw that happen. But last week, we saw Adams get 8 targets. We saw Puka get his 8 targets. Certainly spreading out the field, allowing for 2 elite wide receivers to kind of do their thing. I think the Eagles defense is going to struggle here. I don't really want to pick a winner or not. I could definitely see this being a game the Eagles drop. They have a pretty tough schedule. They got a pretty tough game against Cowboys week 1. I don't think they expected that. Obviously, a brutal game against the Chiefs. Very tight played, a Super Bowl rematch, 2 good teams. They got Rams team here, which is a playoff team, no doubt. And then you have a Bucks game next week for the Eagles. I could see them certainly dropping, either the Rams or the Bucks. But we don't even care about that. We're just looking for the Rams team total over 20.5. Next up, Falcons versus Panthers. We got a 5.5 point spread here and the over under 44.5 yards. Right now it's at 5.5. I'm bumping this up to -6.5. If it's plus odds, that's going to be our pick. In DraftKings right now, it's plus 102. That's mainly who I use. But go to your sports book, shop the line around. Plus odds on -6.5. Take the Falcons. If it's not plus odds, just stay the 5.5. There's no reason to add an extra point to not get that plus value. I literally don't have any notes on this game. I just have the Panthers suck. Their defense is terrible. Their offense is terrible. The Falcons offenses look pretty solid, especially with Penix under center. I think they are able to move the ball. You got Bijan there. You've got Algier there to back him up. You obviously got Drake London in the pass game. I just think the Falcons is a way better team here. I think they're just not confident to put, I think this should be a 9.5 spread. Panthers look terrible. There's just not, like I said, I don't even have notes. I just have Panthers suck. So that's what I'm rolling with. And we're taking the Falcons minus 6.5 if it's plus odds. Heading over, we got the Colts versus Titans. We got a 4.5 point spread, and we have it over 43.5 or over under 43.5 points. I'm taking the Colts team total over 23.5. So far this season, they've scored 33 points and 28 points. Granted, week 1 was a terrible Dolphins defense, but then they saw the Broncos defense, which is actually a pretty decent defense in the game right now. And they put up 28 points against them. I'm getting on this Colts hype train. I don't know if Danny Dimes is really the one to go with, but against the Titans, I definitely feel better backing them. I don't know if this maybe turns into a field goal game. I feel like this is very similar teams, but I can certainly see a 30-27 game, 24-30 game, something like that. Gets this Colts over that 23.5, and they just keep that train going. The Titans have allowed an average of 26.5 through the first 2 weeks, so they've definitely given up some points. And then I went back to 2022. The Colts have averaged 26 points per game against the Titans. Obviously, it's different scheme, different dynamics, but there's something that the Colts team knows about this Titans that they just keep putting up points. I saw a lot. There's a lot of 30-point games. There's a lot of 22, 24, 25. I mean, they're hitting this over. I think they only missed the over twice in the last 3 years. So definitely looking to hit that over. Plus, the Colts throughout this early week have just looked great. They definitely clicked on offense, taking their over 23.5. Next up, we got the Raiders versus the Commanders. This is an interesting one. I actually was like, how is it this low? And then I dug in. I will take the Commanders. They're on a minus 2.5 point spread. Game here is over under 43.5 total, but taking the Commanders minus 2.5. I was like, this is obvious. I would take the Commanders up to a touchdown. Then I dug in and did some research. Commanders haven't looked that great. Obviously, a playoff team last year, pretty much the same team this year, but Jane Daniels has definitely hit a sophomore slump. We've seen that. But this Raiders team, they aren't giving the ball to their running back one, their first round draft running back, Janty. I don't know why. He's literally rushed. I don't think he's hit 10 attempts in a game yet. He's made great use of the attempts he's gotten. He's certainly gotten, yardage. He's averaging over 5 yards per game. But they're just like not giving him the ball. I don't understand it. And then Geno Smith, last game, 3 interceptions. He had 1 interception week 1. I think it's just kind of inevitable he's going to turn the ball over at some point, and that'll probably be the backbreaker for this game. And the Raiders defense has averaged 250 passing yards, which is 8th worst in the league. Obviously, you got Jaden Daniels, not, perfect in the first 2 weeks, but they're going to figure things out. He has the ability to definitely take advantage of this team, of the lackluster secondary that they have. 250 yards will certainly help out, Daniels in this offense get going. And then Washington's defense has held opponents to an average of 16 points per game, which is one of the best in the NFL so far through the first 2 weeks. So they've definitely, done their part. Obviously, the Commanders have not looked as formidable as they did last year, but I do still think they take care of this Raiders. They cover minus 2.5. Next, we got an interesting one. The Steelers versus Patriots. They got a 1.5 point spread in favor of the Steelers. And then you have an over under of 44.5. I'm just going Patriots money line. If you guys saw my video that came out Wednesday, the futures are looking ahead at predictions. I took the Patriots money line. That has not changed. We saw the Steelers last week. They could not move the ball well. They've given up over 30 points over the last 2 weeks. They give it to the Seahawks. They give it up to the Giants. Not exactly Super Bowl contenders in those two teams. I think the Patriots are definitely better than those two, and I don't see why they wouldn't give up 30 points here to the Patriots as well. And then the Patriots, they didn't look amazing week 1, but certainly figured out week 2. They put up over 350 yards and 3 touchdowns on Miami. in Miami nonetheless. They're going to be in Foxborough here for this one. I just think the Patriots are able to find a way. They're going to win this going outright. I don't think that Steelers offense is all they were talked up to be. Obviously, they look good against the Jets, but as we saw, the Jets aren't exactly a formidable defense either this year, giving up over 30 points to the Bills. I just don't see this happening. Next, we got the Bengals and the Vikings. We got a 3-point spread in favor of the Vikings and an over-under of 41.5. I'm taking the Vikings -3. No Burrow really affects this Bengals team. It's a different team if you don't have Burrow at under center. And then this offensive line obviously can't protect Burrow, who's probably one of the best talented quarterbacks in the league. I mean, obviously, I'm taking, you got Mahomes, you got Lamar, you got Allen. Burrow's up there. He's top 5, no doubt, on everybody's list. He is talented. And this offensive line just can't keep people off him. Now he's injured once again, out for the season. This is twice in 4 years or something. I don't know why the Bengals haven't made that a priority. But if you can't protect the highest paid, most talented quarterback in the league, what do you think they're going to do to Jake Browning, who hasn't, I mean, I don't even know who he is, honestly. I don't foresee him coming out here and making plays, extending plays, showing off an arm talent, accuracy. I mean, this isn't Joe Burrow. This team is different without him. Different dynamic. You don't get Higgins. You don't get Jamar involved. It's, he's just going to throw it. He's going to look at his read one option. He's not going to have time to hold it. He's probably taking sacks because he hasn't been in this offense a ton. I don't see this being a good game for the Bengals. And then you have Carson Wentz, a veteran, started before. He could potentially, look really good in this Viking system. We saw Sam Darnold do it. We saw Kirk Cousins do it. I could certainly see Carson Wentz coming out here. Think it's kind of a risky spot for J.J. McCarthy. I could see Wentz being their starter even when McCarthy comes back. So I definitely like Wentz in this system, in this position. And then neither defense has really stopped any team. So really, I'm just looking at who's going to be more accurate, who's going to be a better, offense. Not really looking at the defensive side, and I just think the Vikings are able to, they got Mason back, they got Justin Jefferson, they got Carson Wentz, who's just a better pass thrower than Jake Browning, in my opinion. I just go ahead. I'm taking the Vikings to cover here with this the backup bowl, I guess you can call it. Next up, we got the Texans and Jaguars. We got a 1.5-point spread in favor of the Jags and an over-under of 43.5. I'm going Texans straight up money line. The Jaguars just continue to find ways to throw away games. They had a chance late in their week 2 game and this threw it away. They didn't convert the plays. They made bad choices. Lawrence hasn't looked very good since his first year or 2 in the NFL. It just hasn't been the same. You saw him and Peterson, obviously, having disagreements on the field, Lawrence waving him off. That doesn't sit good with your head coach. Your quarterback who's struggling, waving you off. I don't think that's going to look very good. And I don't think that's going to help team chemistry. It doesn't help things get going. And then Stroud has said before, making the playoffs isn't enough for him. He wants to win. He wants to get to the Super Bowl, and he wants to keep doing that. The only way they do that is if they win. And this Jags team is definitely a game they can win. I can see them getting things connected, get Chubb going a little bit better. And certainly, get Nico Collins, have CJ Stroud feel a little bit more confident against, the person who's on the other side in Lawrence and the Jags. I like the Texans just straight up money line here. Then we got Saints Seahawks. We got a 7.5-point spread in favor of the Seahawks. And I don't understand that. It's an over-under of 41.5 total. Give me the Saints plus 7.5. Both these teams have not looked good. I'd say they're bottom 3 teams in the league. I mean, you throw the Panthers in there, and you probably got your bottom 3. And I don't understand how there's that much of a discrepancy between the worst team in the NFL and the 30th worst team in the NFL. I think this should be a lot closer. I think it should be a field goal game, a 4.5-point game. I mean, I can certainly see that, but you're giving me 7.5 points to the Saints. I certainly like that. They've been able to move the ball. They're averaging 300 yards on offense per game. So Rattler has definitely, been connecting. Kamara's getting his 100 yards a game that we expected. Definitely able to move the ball. They're just not seeing the touchdowns, but they've had some solid opponents in the first week. So I think, going into the Seahawks, not exactly the best team out there, with the Seahawks defense giving up 230 yards, passing yards, over the first two games. So I think Rattler definitely has some chances here. He connects with Olave, connects with the tight end Johnson. I mean, I think he can move the ball here. Do I think the Saints are going to outright win? Probably not. But do I think the Seahawks have a touchdown differential on them? No. Give me the Saints plus 7.5. Next up, we got the Broncos and the Chargers. 2.5 point spread in favor of the Chargers, and an over under 46.5. Give me the Chargers minus 2.5. They've certainly looked like the better team. They've certainly looked good these first couple weeks. Their defense has picked up right where they left off last year. They're third best in points allowed. And then last season they finished first. So they definitely picked it right back up. They're looking good. And the Broncos have allowed over 20 points in the first two, on average in the first 2 weeks. So I think the Chargers come out here, Justin Herbert under back. They've certainly found a way. They're putting up 27 points last week. They put up, 28 points the week before. I think they're coming out here. They're putting some points up against this Broncos defense. And then the Chargers have averaged under 200 passing yards to a quarterback this season. The Chargers defense. They have not given up 200 passing yards to a quarterback this season. Nix has struggled. He's averaging 186 passing yards right now. Definitely not a good matchup for him to go against a team who hasn't allowed over 200 yet. So I think he's just going to struggle here. I think you're going to really, the Chargers are really going to lock down, focus on the run because they know their secondary is solid against Nix. I don't think it's going to be a good game for the Broncos. Give me the Chargers minus 2.5. Next up, we got the Cowboys versus the Bears. 1.5 point spread in favor of the Cowboys. Over 50.5 team or total points. This doesn't seem right. I don't know if there's an injury I haven't seen. I did this Friday night. I came up with doing the videos, doing the picks, but hit for the Cowboys minus 1.5 against the Bears. The Cowboys have put up 20 points and 37 points. 20 points was against the Eagles, so a very good team, very good defense. And then 37 points last week against the Giants. I think they can certainly get things going here. They can put up points. They can move the ball. They can score touchdowns. So that's not a problem. If they haven't scored 15 points or they haven't scored touchdowns, I would be a little more worried, but they can do it. They are connecting. In the first 2 weeks, the Bears have given up 27 points to J.J. McCarthy, which we saw how that looked last week. Not exactly a franchise quarterback yet. And then 51 points to the Lions. This Cowboys defense, they've locked down the Eagles. Granted, they give up some points to the Giants, but I think they come back and they go, that wasn't us. We're going to lock this down. I don't think the Bears score, I don't want to say 17, but I don't think they touch 20. And I think the Cowboys come out here. I think this should be a closer to a 2.5, 4.5 point spread, somewhere around there. I think the Cowboys minus 1.5, basically a pick 'em. Pick 'em in a point. Yeah, I'm taking the Cowboys. I think that Caleb Williams didn't look settled against the Lions, missing open targets, not picking up a blitz, scrambling around when there was, obviously throws and routes of receivers open. Just didn't look good in week 2. And I think the Cowboys are going to pick up on that. Their defense is going to definitely be able to pass rush. I think the Cowboys easily cover this minus 1.5. Next up, Cardinals versus the Niners. They got a 2.5 point spread here in favor of the Niners. Over under 44.5. My pick is actually the Cardinals to go under their team total at 21.5. The 49ers have only allowed an average of 17 points for the first couple weeks. And then the entire Niners offense is broken, except Christian McCaffrey, who's their running back. They got Mac Jones under center. They're going to hand it off to Christian McCaffrey 22 times this game, and that is going to run the clock. When you run the clock like the Niners do, they're systematic, they're short, they're checkdowns, they're running. That does not give the Cardinals enough time to really put, you get a couple stops for this Niners defense, which is certainly a possibility. They can definitely get the Cardinals to punt. The Cardinals would need 3 touchdowns and another score to get this going. they kick a field goal, that just adds to it. So that I don't think they're going to get a lot of opportunity to go down the field. I think this 49ers offense is going to be very systematic. I don't want to touch, the spread. I do lean the Niners, but I don't want to touch that. I just think it's going to be a 14-17 game, regardless of who wins, who it comes out to. It's going to be low scoring throughout the whole game. The Cardinals have, looked good to start the year, but it was against the Saints and the Panthers. Not exactly playoff contenders. 49ers are a playoff team. They have the people, they have the defense, they have the components. I don't see the Cardinals having the same success that they've had throughout the first 2 weeks. Taking the Cardinals under 21.5 team total. And last up, somehow this made it to a primetime game. Once again, we got some weird primetime games. Chiefs versus Giants. We got a 6-point spread in favor of the Chiefs and a over-under of 45.5. Chiefs -6. There's not really much to go into here. The Giants gave up 40 points to the Cowboys. Granted, it was a shootout, but the Cowboys are not the Chiefs. The Chiefs just held the Eagles to 100 passing yards and 92 rushing yards. They lost, but they held them. It was more of the Chiefs offense that lost. I don't see the Giants scoring points here. And typically I have the philosophy of, if only one team's contributing, hit the under. It scares me here because the Chiefs are angry. This is the first 0-2 start in Mahomes' career. Travis Kelce dropped a ball on the goal line that would have won them that game probably. I think they come out here. They don't want to go 0-3. And I don't think they will, but I think they come out here and drop 40 points to let people know we're still a playoff team. We're still a top team in the league. Our defense can stop the ball. Our offense can still score. I believe Worthy is questionable return at this time, so he may be out there. That definitely helps them out. But you got Travis Kelce, you got Hollywood Brown. That's certainly going to help. And then their defense is just going to stop this. I think the points, they easily cover here. I don't love the under because I can see them dropping 40, and that would just leave the one touchdown for the Giants, which I think may happen throughout the course of the game. The Giants team has given up 40 points to the Cowboys and 21 to a struggling Commanders week 1. Don't see the Chiefs being those two teams. I think they're better than those two teams. So I think this differential, the spread here is definitely in favor of that. That is all our picks, all 14 for week 1. I appreciate you guys for watching, and stay tuned tomorrow for our player props for week 1 or week 3. Did I say week 3? Week 3, guys. We're on week 3 of the NFL already. God, till next time.